Well, this was, we were talking about two forms of pseudo-spirituality. Some are intellectual and condemn feelings. On the other side, often we see paths that might be enjoying fake expression or histrionic emotional displays.
So it was histrionic emotionally, we said was a mark of fake spirituality. In other words, people faking their emotions. They're trying to make out that they feel love when they don't. And you soon, through the process of interacting with them, can see that they don't feel much love when you interact with them, right?
Yeah.
So this is where our emotional fakeness is often present in some forms of spirituality. So what would be the opposite of that in terms of what would we expect true spirituality to be? Joy, thanks.
Just real.
Like so emotionally real?
Emotionally real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotion, spell it right. Honest. It would confess our true feelings rather than what we believe everybody else wants to hear, wouldn't it? Yeah? Joy?
I realise it would require recognising your true soul condition. So in other words, I'm only going to be emotionally real if I'm... Well, it can only come from my true soul condition, I guess. It's reflecting my true soul condition.
It is, but you mentioned integrity, so it would have some integrity to it. Yeah.
Personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility, yes.
Like if it's a histrionics, it's generally probably condemning another person or being self-indulgent in some kind of way rather than responsible.
Yeah, so it's not selfish or anything like that? No? Good. Okay, can we then proceed to the next one?
We had weak, light, airy, promotes indecision is often and we talked a lot about this concept of indecision yesterday, didn't we? This emotion around indecision that keeps us engaged in pseudo-spirituality.
So what would real spirituality do there? Igor, thank you.
You will take action.
So you'll take decisions. And action. It won't be passive, will it? It won't be just sitting down there and watching the world fall apart around you without wanting to do something in the sense of to help the situation.
It allows you to make a wrong decision, to experiment.
Yep.
So it allows experimentation, yeah? But what kind of experiments? Does it allow you to experiment with things that are evil, or what kind of experiment are we talking about? Right. So how do we define healthy and safe, though? Diana, you want to?
Just going to say, always loving.
So it has to be loving, but then we've got to define what loving is, like.
Well, it's something that accounts for personal responsibility, something that you said in the previous point. So if I'm engaging in experiment, I'm going to be responsible for
the outcome.
For the outcome, for my intention, those kinds of things.
And obviously, if I engage in experiments that I already know before I begin are actually going to cause pain to others, then you'd have to question the validity of the experiment, would you not?
Yeah.
Right. So it has to. The experiments have to be undertaken with sincerity and some integrity, don't they? Can you see that? Like, if you just undertake an experiment just because you can, and knowing that it might damage another person, and possibly will damage another person, then of course you wouldn't engage that experiment, would you? If you were in a state of love. So what I find is a lot of people believe that you can experiment, and you can experiment with everything and anything. It doesn't matter what pain and everything it causes. Well, obviously that wouldn't be true spirituality. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Something we've said here is that it's very powerful in this regard, and something that occurred to me as you were talking about the different systems, and you were saying that when we're engaged in true spirituality, we're not going to be protesting or attacking other systems, but really what you were outlining is that we're going to confront error, aren't we? If we're engaged, our own personal change will confront things around us that are not truly spiritual.
Yeah, so rather than attacking a system that's in error, it will still confront it just by our being there. it'll confront the system that's in error. So when we're in a state of love and truth ourselves, it automatically confronts the error in another without us having to attack them or without us having to judge them or any of the other things. Just by our living our life in harmony with truth and love, automatically the error is confronted in some way. Yeah. And that's what makes it powerful. We don't have to force change upon people because change will automatically happen through what they observe. Right? And in fact, if you look at it, forcing change on anybody, does it really work? No, not really, does it? And it requires a lot of very unloving behaviour generally, even right down to the threat of murder before change can occur if you're trying to force it on somebody. It's far better to engage the person in a process of that they desire change within themselves. Yeah? And one way you can do that is by you changing and then showing them through your own actions without even talking. You don't have to even talk. You can show them through your own actions that your change will become attractive to them, and then so that therefore they'll feel drawn to make similar changes as a result of the attraction. Yeah.